BPA companies and corporate companies. Cashless facility for following MD-India TPA, E-Medicare TPA, DHS Dedicated Health Services, Family Health Plan TPA, Star Health Insurance, Health India, Apollo Unique, Relicare, Max Super, and Action TPA. Shortly we received the following empanelment of Vipul Medical, Medicare TPA, Vida, Mediassist, Bajaj Allianz, Paramount, and Raksha. Within 2 months, we received all of these following TPAs. Venus team achievement. We have almost completed 9 months in the hospital, and in 9 months, milestone processed by Venus team. In past 9 months, successfully performed more than 1,000 surgeries in urology, vascular, and neurosurgery department. We crossed 1,200 IP patients in same urology, vascular, and neurology department. We have crossed 4,800. We attended 4,800 OPD patients in our urology, vascular, and neurosurgery department. We have focused on other branch. Other achievement through our panel specialty. We have done 55 ortho surgeries, 5 joint replacement surgeries, 10 plastic surgeries, and 50 keratoplasty surgery in a period of last 9 months. Point to be noted, to make the quality services on better side, we are in process of NABH accreditation as quality standardization of the hospital. We are updating our system time to time by reviewing daily indoor patient feedback and suggestions to become more accurate service-minded organization, and always welcome such type of suggestion from doctors and colleagues too. Communication system for the doctors. We always keep informed to consultant doctor for their referral patient from admission to discharge for follow-up. We have system of thanks letter to referring doctor for their patient with the details of diagnosis, treatment, and follow-up. We appreciate your valuable presence to cover this gathering in successful moment for Venus team. We hope your kind support to treat your patient at our hospital with consistency and quality. Any query, any suggestion, any help, please contact me on my number. Written down on this 987917216 and my hospital reception over there. Special thanks to ASPLP members to come here and attend the CLE. The CLE make grand success. Thank you very much. I hand over this my speech to Dr. Rakesh Mohan to share few words with you. Dr. Rakesh Mohan, sorry.
Good evening, doctors. Again, I again welcome on behalf of the Venus Super Specialty Hospital. Today's my topic of discussion is acceptance. Today my topic of discussion is recent trends in the urinary stone disease. Here basically I will focus more and more on the treatment modality part of the stone disease. As you know, the all stone as we know, all stones are grown in the skin and it collecting the calycid as a calycid stone, and it grows and it migrates into the renal cavities. So these calycid stones and renal cavities stones are usually asymptomatic, and when it grows and it impacts into the upper ureter or in the UPJ junction, then it becomes symptomatic. Patient present with the illness like flank pain, Routine blood and urine investigation is required in the stone disease. Here I will emphasis on the serum creatinine because serum creatinine is a true indicator of the renal function. Blood urea is not required in each and all cases of renal stone disease because blood urea indicates the status of hydration in the patient of basically renal creatinine. Other regulatory investigation basically ultrasonography is required for diagnosis of the stone disease, and intravenous spironography is mandatory, especially when we are planning for the any surgical intervention. Why IVT is important? Because it gives confirmation of diagnosis, function of the same and opposite kidney, and gives prognostic and medical information, as well as it gives anatomical roadmap. So before any surgical intervention for the stone disease, IVT is mandatory, except for the small lower uterine stone in which sonography suggests to be a good current camera, then we can avoid the IVT in service before any surgical intervention. Why IVT is important? This patient presented with such stones. When we did the IVT, it reveals a non-functional status of the left side kidney on the first patient and another patient also. There is IVT, is suggestive of non-visualization of the renal system. So suppose we this suggests two things. One, if we operate in such patient, it will not help to the patient because stone removal will not help the patient because the function of the kidney is not proper in such cases. And second important thing, we operate the patient, we remove the stone, and if in future another surgeon do IVT, and at this stage, suppose I have non-functional status reveals, then the litigation will go on the first surgery. So IVT is important before any surgical intervention. The factors affecting management of renal stone disease are mainly size, location, number of stones, degree of obstruction, infection, associated renal minority, and the comorbid factors like diabetes, mellitus, hypertension, old age, and development. So what are the options for the management of the stone disease? Open is now very limited number of cases of stone disease. Second option is ESW, PCNL, and most recently is Griper and RRS. Suppose surgery is required only in cases where there is a large stone burden or associated some anatomical abnormality. As patient is presented with such a large stone, in this case, open surgery is more fruitful rather than endoscopic management. There is another patient who have a pelvic stone with uretropelvic junction obstruction. This is a stone and this is a uretropelvic junction obstruction. In such cases, we have to do pyeloplasty, and during pyeloplasty we remove the stone and we correct the uretropelvic junction obstruction. So in such cases, open surgery are more fruitful rather than endoscopic management. But these cases are very limited in their number. ESW is a good option in selected group of the patient. Basically, it is possible in upper ureteric and the renal calculi because lower half of the ureter is behind the pelvic bone, so shock waves cannot reach to the stone disease. In ESW, ESW machine will break stones. It will break in the pieces, and all the pieces will come out to the by its own to the ureter. Now, advantage of this ESW is it is a daycare procedure, and patient can go home within 3 hours or 4 hours. And it is a so this ESW is not a because generally people लोगों आपका जगह पे हमारे laser की treatment कराती है. But this is not ESW is not laser. It is commonly known in the general population. ESW is decreasing the trend recently. Why? Because there are first this stone cannot be judged on the density basis. Stone will break by the machine or not. Second thing, if it breaks, it may cause a large fragments which require multiple safety. Third thing, suppose all the fragments are broken, and when while passing through the ureter, it may get stuck into the lower ureter. So in such patient, again present with the flank pain, fever, and such patient require ureteroscopic removal of the such stone fragment. So these are the limitations. And what are the long-term implications of this EHW? Because shock wave goes from kidney surface to the stone. So this large area is affected by the shock wave. So in future, this area will become a scar, and this will cause an irreversible hypertension in such patients. So if multiple sittings or if multiple sittings is there, the long-term implication is hypertension. So these are the bhadya પરંતુ સારું લાગે કે ના કશું થયું નથી, but it will more damage the kidney. These are the some stones we have done EHW. They are the soft stones, non-obstructive stones that can deal with the EHW. So there are some specific indications to treat with the EHW. Another standard care of the procedure is a PCN. PCN is a very standard procedure nowadays, in which we make a hole in the kidney, and through hole we go through with this scope, and we under vision we fragment the stone, and through all this fragment under vision we remove all the fragments. So by the end of the procedure, the patient will be completely stone free. Here the damage is only this part. It is not, it is very surgically clean cut damage. So the chances of hypertension are very minimum in such patients. While the EHW will have a very high chance of hypertension long term because the large area of the parenchyma is involved.